Have you ever searched the internet of Docker commands only to come across basic tutorial that barely scratching the surface? Fear not, today I will cover essential Docker commands you will ever need for your cloud role. Stay tuned. First of all, let's talk about Docker search. Wait, scratch that. In reality, most of us don't use Docker search as often as we simply Google it. When you visit Docker Hub, you agree with a lot of example and documentation. Even GitHub provide more detailed information about the given image, ensure it's sourced from the official website. However, if you're still curious about Docker search, here's what you use. Next up, once you find your favorite image, the next move for you is to download this image onto your computer. Now, Docker pull is your friend. In this example, I will execute the Docker image pull nginx latest. Well, it's really nice and simple. By the way, if you want to speed up this download process, I know a secret. Just hit that subscribe button and your download should be finished by now. See? It works! Next up are the Docker build and the Docker run command, which is I believe to be the most indispensable. Without them, running any software in a Docker container is probably impossible. The Docker build command will look at your Docker file in the current directory and construct the image you decide. In this example, I have two files, a Docker file and index.html. I'm going to build a custom nginx image with my own HTML file using this command. After the images is built, you can check your image using the Docker image slideshow. So great, what's next? We are going to run the Docker container from our custom image. But do you know that the Docker run is actually a combination of two commands? It first executes Docker create to forge a container from the image, and then the Docker start to commencing running the container. Let me show you an example. Here's what happened. I'm naming my container API and mapping a port from A0, A0 to A0. You may wonder, what is the significance of A0, A0, A0? Well, imagine open up a web browser and wanting to accessing the Docker container. It seems impossible due to an invincible wall between the local computer and the container. To bridge this gap, we need to instruct Docker to access this custom container via our port A0, A0, which corresponds to the container port 80. The dash option signifies that I don't want to lock up my terminal, which is convenient if you prefer not to open another terminal windows. The Docker ps-a command is used to list all containers on your system, including both running and stock containers. This is a command that you will use every day to view and manage your system, so remember it well. Next up is the Docker stop command. Let's look at an example. You can stop container by using its name, for example, Docker stop API, or you can use its ID. You can also stop multiple containers at once. For example, Docker stop container 1, 2, 3. The Docker stop command will try to stop the container gracefully, allowing to finish existing process and perform cleanup operation. Moving on to the Docker restart. The syntax is quite similar to Docker stop. You can restart the container by its name, ID, or even multiple names at once. For consideration, when you issue the Docker restart command, Docker will first stop the container gracefully before starting again. This is beneficial when you need to refresh with new configuration, such as apply a new nginx config file. Following that, we have the Docker exec command. Let's look at an example. Docker exec-id API bash. This command allows you to enter a container and see what is inside. Think of it like access into a virtual machine in the cloud, but now you can access into a container on your local host. It's really useful for debugging, so it's a command worth remembering well. Continue on. Let's explore the docker push command. Similar to version control in Get, after building your Docker image, it's time to push it to the Docker registry. Before you can do that, remember to log into your registry. Once you are logged in, you can execute Docker push. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you forgot to delete a whole bunch of containers and you're tired of deleting them one by one? Here's the command that you will need. First, try to stop all running containers using this example. And then, remove all containers with this example. Now, your system should be lightning fast. Running out of space? You probably forgot to delete your image. This Docker command can help you with just that. This command will delete all the image by passing the ID of all image. Something worth noting here is to ensure that no container are using the image you want to delete. Otherwise, you might face conflict, and you could potentially lose your job, especially if you're working for a really demanding company. If you ever find that deleting container and image using two commands is still too much work, and you feel like it should be simpler, try this example. This command will delete all stop container, network, image, volume, and build cache, streamlining the process. Using this command is particularly helpful if you are looking to quickly free up system resources. Have you ever tried to save data inside your container only to remove the container later and find out your data is gone? Understanding and effectively utilize Docker volume is crucial for managed and persistent data in the Docker environment. The most common commands to use are to create a volume and attach to a container like so. Want to add something to your container? The docker cp command has got you covered. It is used to copy file or directory between a Docker container and the local file system. Here's the syntax. For example, docker cp stuff.txt and then copy over to the container file directory. Just make sure the paths specifically are correct. You wouldn't want to place something in the wrong location, right? Next up, 2 o'clock in the morning, your Docker crashed and your manager call you. Oh my god. You wake up and try to debug what it fell. The docker log command should be the first thing you check. Docker logs my container. The -f option allows you to fetch the logs and maintain the connection to view the real-time logs. If you're like me and you only want to see the last 100 lines of a log, the Docker logs trail can help you. You can also use the Docker ID if you didn't name your container. Docker logs are essential for troubleshooting. Remember it well, fix the issue, and then get some sleep. These are the most common Docker commands you will need for your day-to-day job. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. I also have other content that you might want to check out here. Click on here